We're back.
We're back and we're still pissed.
Yeah, we're back and it's not any better.
Yeah, this is just like week after week of us just being like, oh, this country should just be thrown out. Start over. The British should come back.
Yeah, honestly.
There was like this TikTok that I saw that it was duetted with one person that was like, name like just what do like non-American people think of our country, like just like what do you think? And this British woman was just like, I think your country's a cult. And like went into the list of like why, and I'm like, oh god, 100%. But like a lot of us want to get out of it. Just know that.
Yeah, but we were like, can't, because we're cult members, we're brainwashed, and we're Stockholm Syndrome or whatever it's called. We're in love with our captors.
Yeah. I would say like one of the biggest cult leaders or cults in our country, I would say stem from Florida. What about you, Molly?
Oh, yeah, I would say Florida. Wow, you're like a pro at the transitions. I would say the origin of this cult, while many think it is the East Coast and the early colonizers, it's actually Florida.
It's Florida. What the fuck is going on in Florida? Happy Pride, by the way, because this is airing in June. Happy Pride. And we just need to talk about what's going on in Florida when it comes to pride and or the lack of, because they have some crazy shit going on. Number one thing is the Don't Say Gay bill. There's another thing we'll be talking about, which is the Anti-Woke Act, which is hilarious. The fact that it's called that. I mean, it's laughable, but it's not laughable because, like, just we don't care about people and we don't care about children, and it's just so disgusting. But specifically, public school teachers in Florida are now banned. I think this starts in July, but they will be banned from holding classroom instruction about sexual orientations or gender identity after Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, obviously a Republican, signed the controversial Parental Rights and Education bill, or how we know it as the Don't Say Gay bill. And it reads specifically that classroom instruction by school personnel or third parties on sexual orientation or gender identity may not occur in kindergarten through grade 3 or in a manner that is not age appropriate or developmentally appropriate for students in accordance with the bill standards. But this is the thing. It's like, okay, it's like, I mean, it's horrifying as it is, but it's like,
the verbiage though is so vague.
It's so vague because it doesn't define key terms like what age appropriate really means, or developmentally appropriate, like what's developmentally appropriate, like who fucking decides that. It doesn't even define the term like classroom instruction, like what that could mean, that like whether it's on a syllabus or it's just like a conversation that happens because a child comes in talking about their two moms. Like,
it's going to get teachers in hot water all the time. Some kid asks, oh, my friend has two moms. What does that mean? And then the teacher says, well, I guess that like those moms got married. End of conversation, move on. A kid goes home from school. My teacher said that girls can get married. There it is.
Sued.
Fired.
Lawsuit.
Sued. Fired. Yeah.
And it's already been, we'll go into like how it's been happening too.
Yeah.
And then during a press conference ahead of signing the law, DeSantis said teaching kindergarten age kids that they can be whatever they want to be was inappropriate.
Okay.
For children. He said it's not something that it's appropriate for any place, but especially not in Florida.
He's like, only white men can be what they want to be.
Yeah, how dare you have freedom of expression and gender identities and want to wear, boys can't wear a dress. You can't have two mommies.
Oh my God.
Not in Florida, not anywhere, but especially not in Florida.
That voice. You can't have two mommies. Can't have two daddies.
Can't have two daddies. What the hell? I don't believe in pronouns.
What the hell?
You just call me by my first name. I don't believe in any pronoun.
We're no longer going to say mom or dad. It's just Susan, Tom.
Tom, Dick, or Harry. That is it. And Adam and Eve.
That is it.
Not Adam and Steve. I don't believe in proper pronouns and improper pronouns.
But call me a man.
I don't believe in predicates.
Yeah.
And conjunctions.
Conjunctives. Or adjectives. No adjectives.
No, I do not want any adjectives, but I will take some expletives. Thank you.
Yeah, expletives. You can describe me as powerful and rich and white, but no more adjectives. No more of them.
But why don't say them? I don't believe in them. Oh, God. Well, anyway.
You're welcome, guys. That's our skit and scene.
And scene.
Oh God.
But
yeah. So yeah, that I got a little lost for a minute.
We're off the rails and we don't care because that's just where we're at.
Yeah, it's kind of where we're at a lot of the time, but now it's tied to this.
Yes.
So studies have shown that LGBTQ youth already face higher health and suicide risks than their cisgender straight peers. Duh, we've known that. The data show that 43% of transgender youth have been bullied on school property. 29% of transgender youth, 21% of gay and lesbian youth, and 22% of bisexual youth have attempted suicide. This is really high. This is
gonna
not
get worse.
7%, 15%. We're talking right
30,
up to
almost
30%. Yeah.
Have attempted suicide. And that's like, yeah.
And this is youth. These aren't even adults.
Yeah, these are children.
So, yeah, when those kids are given access to spaces that affirm their gender identity, they report lower rates of suicide attempts, according to the Trevor Project.
Shocking stuff.
Wow. Just like when all of a sudden little black girls could buy dolls that had the same skin color as them, it shifted their self-worth and their self-perception and their sense of belonging in the world. Oh, okay. That's crazy.
I don't get it. No. Ban it. Ban it. I don't like it. Ban it.
That's crazy.
Only white dolls.
White. Oh
I'll take my dolls white.
White dolls.
Their skin
only.
Milky and white and blonde hair.
Translucent motherfuckers. So when those, I already said that. Okay. We're getting a little crazy, guys. Sorry. But I'm also
Unhinged.
not sorry. Yeah. Unhinged. So the group also critiqued the policy's parental notification requirements. So the law requires parents to be the first to be notified of any health or support services offered to their kids in school and allows them the chance to deny those services on behalf of their children. The Trevor Project says these provisions, quote, appear to undermine LGBTQ support in schools and include vague parental notification requirements, the most dangerous, which could effectively require teachers to out LGBTQ students to their legal guardians without the student's consent, regardless of whether they are supportive. So there are plenty of parents out there, whether we like it or not, who will disown, kick out, physically abuse a child if they come out to their parents and say that they're gay.
Yeah.
And this law could dangerously put it in a position where the teacher is required to do that, to out this child, who will then face repercussions that could lead to homelessness and physical abuse.
Yeah.
Let's just remember that, because that is not, it's not like, oh, you're going to get in trouble. Oh, your mom won't talk to you. No, it's way more real than that for a lot of people.
It's so dangerous.
It's so dangerous. And leading up to the bill's signing, critics, which include the Walt Disney Company, lambasted Florida lawmakers for the legislation. But DeSantis was defiant in the face of the critics.
Do the lyric. Do the
like a true hero. Oh yeah, his
accent.
voice. Oh yeah. I don't care what Hollywood says. As is him. I don't care what Hollywood says. I don't care what big corporations say. Here I stand. I am not backing down.
I'm not backing down. You're not taking my guns. You're not taking away my straights and my whites.
Not taking away my straights. It don't matter if they're really not straight, but as long as I can say and believe
everyone
they're
is
straight.
Everyone
is straight.
My daddy is straight. My mama is straight. My guns are straight.
Yeah, everything. And the law takes effect July 1st.
Yeah.
The thing is, I want to bring up
yes,
how we're talking about school and like, oh, this isn't appropriate for parents need the right to say, no, I will not allow my children to be exposed or to be taught this or to even hear these words being spoken in the hallway in passing.
Right.
And yet, how many did we all not say the Pledge of Allegiance our whole lives?
Talk about a cult.
Well, yeah. One nation under God.
Disgusting.
Let's just, no defined terms, no parents could actually obviously the kids could not say it, but you got in trouble for not saying it if you're not saying it. And then not even a discussion about like what this could mean, where it came from, why, what are we doing? When it's tied to creationism versus evolution, for example, it's very science-based. If you want to talk about academics and scholastics and what should be in critical race theory, all of these things they are legitimately issues that need to be taught. And I remember my dad's a biology professor, so he's obviously very scientific, and for biology, and it was 7th grade science, and my 7th grade science teacher is in like small town Washington, so it's a bunch of Hicks and a bunch of red-blooded Republicans over there.
Oh my God.
A little bit out of Seattle, that's why. Why. But he was I remember him talking in class about creationism. This is in science class of all classes, and he was denouncing evolution. And I don't remember how the subject like came about or why this is brought up, but it was brought up in class enough that I brought it up at the dinner table at home. And they were like, and I don't know how I brought it up. My dad said I was kind of like, yeah, I don't know. Like Mr. Fevergen said, whatever about evolution. And my dad, like, I remember, like his face is like cartoons, like instant red. And he was like, he what? And it's science class. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. My dad got up from the dinner table, and my family was like, we sit down, all 4 of us every night. He got up from the dinner table, picked up the phone, called Mr. Fevergen at home and was like, what the fuck? He didn't say that, but what the hell are you doing? You damn well better not be telling my daughter that this and this. And in science class, I work at the university, like pulled his, I'm a biologist card, you're a 7th grade science teacher card, which my dad does not have an ego. So I don't know where that came from. But these are the things.
We're not a part of your book club, Christians. Right. Like, what are you, what the fuck? Like, we are not a part of your book. It's like simple as that. Like, we just don't believe in the same things that we have evidence and proof for, and you don't.
Right. And believe what you want to believe and raise your kids how you want to in your home. The thing is, if you're going to put regulations on school, you cannot talk about how there are people who love the same sex as them.
It's
who
disgusting.
are physically attracted to the same sex. We had an episode with Shelby. Sex education in general, even for straight kids, is non-existent.
Let alone for anybody that is questioning their gender, their sexual orientation, anything. Like, you'll learn nothing. You'll have nothing. And now no representation. You can't even talk about it in class. And this is like, it's also just like the appropriate age bullshit argument. It's just like,
because I know some 40-year-old men who be acting a lot less mature than me when I was 13. So
and like kids need to. It's just a really, really sensitive age where kids need to learn about the world, and like just shielding them and getting rid of books that have like gay characters in it is like just so that's childish. And dangerous. So beyond branding, a core argument for the bill centers around whether it will prohibit the instruction or discussion of sexual orientation. The bill's sponsors have stated that the bill would not prohibit students from talking about their LGBTQ families or bar classroom discussions about LGBTQ history, including events like the 2016 deadly attack on the Pulse nightclub, a gay club in Orlando in Florida. Instead, they argue that the bill would bar the instruction of sexual orientation or gender identity. It's like, what? They're not making sense.
That doesn't make any sense. And it's so blurry that it allows room for them to just like lawsuits and fire, like.
Yep. And so the text actually says both is what's alarming about this. The bill's sponsors say their aim is to prohibit classroom discussion about sexual orientation or gender identity. But later the actual bill states classroom instruction by school personnel or third parties on sexual orientation or gender identity may not occur. So it's like, it's not just the like discussion. It's just like it's anything. It's like, it's just so confusing. It's like they make it that way. It's so purposeful.
It's so intentional.
Regardless, it remains unclear what the instruction of sexual orientation, gender identity entails. Without a clear description, teachers may legitimately fear being sued for a wide variety of classroom instruction, including lessons concerning same-sex marriage or the history of like the AIDS epidemic, like just that in itself.
And aside from if you teach like a whole lesson on it, one kid asks one question and you have to address it because you're the teacher. You say one word, another kid goes home and, oh, we talked about, there it is.
Yeah.
There it is. And then the law, there's no defined term. So you are just like at the mercy of whoever's making this decision the day that your case comes up, and it's probably not going to be in your favor.
Nope. The Don't Say Gay bill also uses an enforcement scheme reminiscent of of Texas's SB 8 abortion ban. So if you remember us talking about sweet, sweet Texas and their abortion ban that happened, under the bill, parents can bring private lawsuits against school districts that violate the ban. This means that any school district that is even suspected of violating the law could face crushing legal fees. And even if a school district complies with whatever standards the education department eventually comes up with, a parent may still sue. And there's no guarantee that judges will agree with the department's interpretation of the law. Horrifying.
So pretty much a citizen's arrest. Pretty much, I heard that my sister's coworker got an abortion. I'm going to report her.
Yeah, it's all a bounty. Oh, I heard that my niece's best friend's science teacher talked about that, that they went to a gay wedding over the weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The bill relies on private lawsuits for enforcement, just like the abortion ban. It permits parents to file a lawsuit against their child's school district to compel compliance with the bill's vague requirements, and those parents can potentially win money damages plus reasonable attorney fees if they prevail in court, which is exactly what will happen. So there's so many questions that you have to ask here. Like, can a gay teacher display a picture of their spouse on their desk? Can a straight teacher do that? Suppose that a third grade student asks a teacher who the highest ranking openly gay official is in the government. Is a teacher allowed to respond with Pete Buttigieg? I don't know. Or do they have to blow off the question? Or what if a book taught in high school English class has a gay character in it? Or what if the book has no openly gay characters, but a parent reads the book and concludes that it has homoerotic undertones?
That's funny because I remember a lot of required reading that had the N-word in it.
Right.
That was not censored, not even talked about in class.
Forget it. And if a second grade student has two mothers, may a teacher casually mention this fact in the same way they might mention any other student's parents, or is such a thing forbidden? I mean, these are amazing questions. We're going to shout out all of our articles that we got from this Politico, NPR, shout out Vox for these really good talking points, by the way, but we'll link those in our show notes. But those questions are all so valid. It's so insane.
It is. And so we have a quote from Laura Anderson, a child and family psychologist in Hawaii. Her focus is LGBTQ youth and their families. She says, we all have processes around clarifying who we know in our heads and hearts we are and who we are drawn to or attracted to make an increasingly large percentage of the population's experience invisible and taboo is so harmful and unsafe for all kids. This is basic. Yeah. Basic parenting, there's reverse psychology. You tell someone they can't do something, they're going to do it. My mom never had junk food in the house at all. And then I went to college in my freshman year. I ate cereal for every meal, junky cereal and chips and food. Cause I'm like, what? Okay. This stuff was bad.
Yeah. I was the opposite. I had junk food in the house and I was like, I don't, what I mean? It didn't faze me. Same thing. If you tell your kid tell kids not to fuck, because this is why abstinence only, sex education, it's not really sex education, but abstinence only does not work. People
sex
will
intimidation tactics.
Yeah. People will fuck.
That's the thing. You restrict things, they become taboo. You get rated R movies.
Look at the Catholic Church, motherfuckers. Look at the Catholic Church. Look at those freaks that are making your kids tell them their dirty little secrets in a room where you're not there. And it's creepy. Sorry. I was raised Catholic. Creepy. These priests are fucking creepy, and they have mountains and mountains and mountains of reports that they're just stashing away and hiding and moving priests all around. I can go on and on about the Catholic Church, but that is another big example of episode. Yeah, of how harmful it is to tell people to repress themselves.
Yes, and to puritanical values. It's all based on guilt and shame, and so if you that's the Catholic Church is that's what they really worship is guilt and shame.
Yes, and so is this. This bill is all about guilt and shame.
Exactly,
shame over who you are and who you love.
Yeah, exactly. So, a 2019 report from GLSEN, an LGBTQ advocacy organization, found that 2/3 of LGBTQ youth respondents had not been exposed to representations of LGBTQ people, history, or events in lessons at school. I was not. I'm straight, but I was not exposed to that either.
I think Harvey Milk. I learned about Harvey Milk. I think that's it.
Maybe I did, and I don't even remember because it was probably a blip in the. Then go back to learning about Columbus.
Oh my God.
So at schools that did have an LGBTQ plus inclusive curriculum, 59% of respondents said they often or frequently heard the word gay used in a negative way. 60%, and that's in schools where it was somewhat included.
Yeah.
Compared with an almost 80% of students at schools that did not have an inclusive curriculum.
Yeah.
I for sure all the time
Gay.
racist and like homophobic all the time. Heard that all the time in school.
Yeah.
Laura Anderson, she is that psychologist that I was talking about earlier. She says if you are a family or a child that is figuring this stuff out about your identity and you don't see yourself anywhere in curriculum, in stories, that absence means that they must undo the harm of their child having felt othered forever. And you know what happens when a child feels othered, whether it's founded or not, sometimes they go on shooting sprees. So take a look at our last...
Seriously.
I mean, obviously that's totally different, but it's like all the issues kind of like, you don't have an issue with someone being othered if the reason they're othered is because of your belief structure. But then the second someone is like, there's a mass shooter out there and it's like, oh, he was really quiet, he wasn't socialized. Well, yeah, bitch, like he didn't develop resilience at all because he's a white man and he's totally supposed to get everything. It all bleeds into each other. I'm like tying everything in, but I'm like,
know what you mean. Really... I think it's like with like this mass shooters, they're all like white men with like white boys with privilege, but they like, a girl won't fuck me. I'm going to shoot at my entire class.
They just don't. They're not. Their lives don't reflect what they are shown in culture.
I don't want to learn about white men anymore. I know no more white men. I don't want to learn about another white man. No more.
That's the thing. Like, yeah, when you talk about like, you don't validate someone's experience and reality, they are going to feel othered. And that's where the suicide rates come from.
Yep. It's so disgusting. And so in the week since Florida GOP Governor Ron DeSantis signed the measure dubbed Don't Say Gay by its critics into law, schools across the state have started to feel the legislation's effects before it's officially taken hold. So students have complained about being censored for supporting the LGBTQ community. One educator claimed that they have been called a groomer and a pedophile. Insane. At least one first-year educator was fired for bringing LGBTQ discussions into the classroom. And all the while, school officials remain in a holding pattern as the Florida Department of Education comes up with the guidance for how to carry out these controversial measures.
Right.
In one case,
you can start by defining the terms.
No, they won't. They want to keep it vague so they can keep these lawsuits coming. In one case that has drawn national attention, the first openly gay class president, at Pineview School in Sarasota County, Xander Moritz, claims his principal told him not to bring up his LGBTQ activism or involvement in a lawsuit challenging the legislation in his upcoming graduation speech. School officials had a signal to cut off my microphone, end my speech, and halt the ceremony, Moritz said in a series of tweets detailing his experience. I actually saw this. I don't know if it was actually him. I think it was him or another class president that gave us a graduation speech. But it was beautiful. Like he was talking about, I believe his pronouns were he. I believe he was talking about, he made it, he was just like, I grew up different than my peers. I grew up with my curly hair and I had a really hard time dealing with my curly hair and I spent years trying to straighten my hair and fit in with my peers. And it was a really, really beautiful analogy. I believe it was the student Xander. I encourage everyone to look that up. It's a really beautiful speech. But and there was another incident in Lee County last month when school officials severed their contract of Casey Scott, a first-year art teacher at a middle school, after she taught lessons about LGBTQ pride flags and came out to students as pansexual, making some feel uncomfortable, the local Fort Myers News Press reported. So she lost her entire job.
And her entire job, an art teacher, just talking about the flags.
And like someone asked how she identifies. which is like, who gives a shit?
So we're not gonna,
who cares?
So we're gonna treat our kids as complete idiots, and therefore they will grow up to be complete idiots.
Yeah.
Not because they are by nature, but because we think they can't handle things.
And this is the thing. Then, like, I better not ever hear of a kid talking about how their straight teacher's talking about their straight relationship.
Exactly.
I don't fucking want to hear it. It makes me think about all of the gendering and all of the, like, the straight Nazi, like, propaganda that we enforce onto, like, babies. Like,
yeah.
Like, for example, like, when you see... for boys specifically, like boys toddler onesies that says like breaking girls' hearts and like
yep it says boy, even the ones that are like obviously, which has been commandeered by the Me Too movement because of obvious reasons, but I see baby onesies still that say boys will be boys.
Oh my God, disgusting. And the girls will be like, you know,
Daddy's
just like
little princess.
Yeah, like I just like lipstick and tiara and like all of these, like you're just forcing all of these identities onto a child right off the bat, identities that you deem appropriate.
Right.
Like where is the line here?
And then certain things are so obscurely gendered, like for obviously like toys for kids is one thing. But certain things are like so there's why are automobiles assigned to a gender? Why are trucks? Because like I remember like for toys, you know what I mean? Like cars are always for little boys. Like my brother and I each had a massive basket of Hot Wheels cars. Like I was a Hot Wheels fanatic. I had so many and none of my other girlfriends did. They had tubs of Barbies and but I had, and then every weekend Dylan and I would like trade cars back and forth, like but these are toys for boys, the cars, and the dolls are for the girls. I mean, it's already like Jesus, like let a personality form. What, like do you think girls don't ride in cars? They don't ever drive cars? Like what are we doing? No what?
Because that sort of experimentation will lead you down a road of sin.
You're right. Damn it. You're right. So speaking of that accent, DeSantis also signed into He also signed into legislation the Stop Woke Act, the law that prohibits workplace training or school instruction that teaches that individuals are inherently racist, sexist, or oppressive, whether consciously or unconsciously. That people are privileged or oppressed based on race, gender, or national origin, or that a person bears personal responsibility for and must feel guilt, anguish, or other forms of psychological distress over actions committed in the past by members of the same race, gender, or national origin. The law says such trainings or lessons amount to discrimination.
So it's basically, I'm going to call this the Snowflake Act. Because this is just like, stop making white people feel and white men feel badly about themselves.
Exactly.
How dare you? Same thing with CRT. And like, we can't, let's not teach these white children that their ancestors owned slaves.
Yeah, no, stop discussing discrimination. It might lead to discrimination. Oh, okay. And discrimination is bad? Is that why you don't want it to lead to discrimination? No. It's because we discriminate.
Because I'll feel bad about myself.
Yeah, we don't really want to talk about that.
You hurt my feelings.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable for me.
Hearing about like the fact that you don't get paid as much as me, or that like redlining exists and that's why you still, and my coworker still lives on that side of the street. Like, it just makes me feel really bad about myself.
Hearing about how a lot of my loved ones are legitimately, I will say, apprehensive and anxious to go to the grocery store right now makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like the fact that one day I might have a child that's not white, that's uncomfortable.
Ouch.
Because like
my fifis are hurt.
Yeah. Like what is wrong with people?
The stop woke.
Yeah. Stop elevating consciousness. No critical race theory. No.
Nothing.
Shh. Christopher Columbus is a hero.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
and if you tell me otherwise, my feelings will be hurt.
Yeah, exactly. Fragile little white male ego.
Seriously.
The Human Rights Campaign, the nation's largest LGBTQ plus advocacy organization, reports that lawmakers have introduced 300 anti-LGBTQ bills this year. It is May. When we are recording this, it is May. 300. 300,
Great.
y'all.
Great.
Yeah. Okay.
Sick.
So that's tight. In Indiana, state legislators proposed a bill that would require schools to obtain prior informed written consent from the parent of a student who is less than 18 years of age before the student may participate in any instruction on human sexuality. So a massive part of just being a biological, an animal. Sexuality is a part of being an animal. Even a plant. My dad's a botanist. There are male and female parts of plants that are just discussed scientifically.
But we know what they mean, though. Human sexuality, meaning like you can only talk about straight sexuality. That is,
of course.
That's.
But I'm like, our sexuality is a human instinct. The same way that we need to eat and we need to like stay alive. Sexuality is an instinct in humanity.
But it won't stop like disgusting adults like go up to like a five-year-old boy and a 5-year-old girl who are playing together and be like, oh, they're going to be dating. Why don't you guys hold hands? That'll be okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Exactly.
But God forbid we learn about AIDS.
Exactly. Now kiss each other. Give each other a kiss. I'm going to take a picture.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. How many Hallmark fucking cards with the little toddlers kissing each other have we all seen?
I have one of those.
I mean, it's cute, but listen.
Dustin.
It is. It's everywhere. And like, where was I?
Everybody should be kissing.
Yeah. Let's have, where are the photos of toddler orgies?
No, Molly.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Too far.
I'm sure the Catholic Church has a lot on those.
You know? Yeah. You're right. They're documented somewhere. Oklahoma, interesting. Oklahoma state legislators recently passed a bill that prevents students enrolled in colleges from being required to engage in any form of mandatory gender or sexual diversity training or counseling, provided voluntary counseling shall not be prohibited. So if they want counseling and they volunteer, because a lot of 18 to 22-year-olds are so self-aware that they might volunteer that maybe I need a little diversity training. I think maybe I do. I'm sorry, freshmen in college.
But it's just bizarre. Right. I know. But these are like adults. You're prohibiting literally like fucking adults from learning about more of the world. It's like
from not only from learning it, but from being required to be exposed to these things as they develop their minds.
Just like put all of these people that think something like this bill is okay. I think anyone that like wants their guns.
Yeah.
Like just put them all in a rocket ship.
Yeah. And honestly,
send them out of here. I am done. Done. Send all of Florida out of there. There's some good people. So like, just come on over the good, like, but everyone else.
But you know what? You know how it goes. I bet like a good 30% or more percentage of like people in power, politicians, people like fighting so hard for this are a little bit gay.
Oh yeah. They're always compensating for something. Like Ron DeSantis, what you got? What's going on there, Ron DeSantis? Yeah, come on now.
We know now.
You got a little boyfriend on the side. You want to tell the wifey? You got a little boyfriend, a little mister on the side that you don't want anyone to know about? Probably.
Couple.
Like Marco Rubio.
In February, Republicans in Kansas introduced a state house bill that would make the depiction of homosexuality in classroom materials a Class B misdemeanor. Yeah.
Great.
What year is this again? Is this 2022 or 19 or 14?
I mean, this is just so disgusting. Everything. I mean, it's just like, how did we get here? What the hell? It's a Rent quote, but I mean, I'm sorry to all of our LGBTQIA plus listeners that have to deal with this because I don't know. I just feel like it takes a really brave person to look at their media and look at their representatives and see and be told that you're wrong and who you love is wrong and who you want to identify is wrong. I just can't imagine what that is like. A little bit. I mean, as a woman and like as a woman of color, really, but not really. You know what I mean? Have a lot of white privilege, and I have class privilege to an extent. So it's like, I don't know. It's like, you know, we talked about in our gun control episode, talking about all the shootings, that, you know, voting can only do so much. If you're in Florida, holy shit. I urge you to join grassroots organizations to and educate yourself on who your legislators are if you don't know already. And please mobilize people. If you're younger, please mobilize your friends to care more, to vote more. If your family members are Republican voters and don't care about LGBTQ youth, especially, like, please educate them. This is so dangerous and so harmful. And the fact that, like, yes, we're talking about Florida specifically here, but we also were talking about other states too that have been working in policies to
all 300.
Make sure,
all 300 anti-LGBTQ bills that have been passed this year.
And Roe v. Wade is about to be out the door too. So, like, gay marriage might be right after that. So we have to stay vigilant out there because it is becoming scary and bleak, and we will continue to report on it and give our opinions on this.
And it just trickles down that order you just said. It's like they're all so closely, they were so hard fought for, and they're so closely connected that it you know, this happened. Don't say gay, and then you can't, and then Roe v. Wade is overturned, and then interracial marriage is banned, and then we get like it literally just goes right back down the little ladder.
Yeah. So I hope that, you know, to our LGBTQIA plus listeners, that, you know, we are a source of, like, a, you know, you're safe here with us, you know, like, if you want to reach out to us in the comments, or if you're feeling scared and you want, like, more research or just someone to talk to, we're there. We should have, like, a Reddit or something, a little community.
I know, because I was just going to say, we make a point to, like, build such a community around. And obviously, if you're still listening to us at this point after 2+ years of episodes, our politics and our views are very clear. Like, you know, you're here for, you know, to expand perspective on things that you probably agree with us on to some level, or you wouldn't be able to stand listening to us talk. But it's a community that's, like, you know, you're safe if you want to DM us privately, if you want to engage in conversations in our comments. We do monitor. If we get some crazies in there, delete. Like, we want everyone to feel okay. And, like, you know, we're not censoring, like, deleting comments we don't want. But I just mean, if someone gets really crazy and offensive, and it's our platform, and we want you guys to feel safe, and, like, you can engage with us and with other listeners.
Yeah, and I'm not afraid to fight in our comments. I don't know. If you go on our Instagram, I will make boys cry.
Yes.
And I love it.
Yeah.
It feeds me.
I do too. See, if I let myself go there, I go so hard.
I know.
And I know you do too. And, like, I literally have to, like, find the line for myself, because I'm like, I will.
Great to do, but it doesn't. Like,
but also it is.
But sometimes it is. No one to hold them, no one to fold them, no one to walk away. Just pick your battles. Again, shout out to NPR, Politico, Vox. They had really great articles that we got a lot of our information from, so we'll be linking those in our show notes. Shout out to Trevor Project. Through legislation, litigation, and public education, the Trevor Project is the leading advocate for LGBTQ youth mental health in preventative and intervention efforts at the federal, state, and local level to address factors that place LGBTQ youth, I can't say that fast, and I speak hard. Fast normally, youth at significantly higher risk of suicide. They are committed to producing innovative research that brings knowledge and clinical implications to the field of suicide research. To accomplish this, they monitor, analyze, and evaluate data collected from LGBTQ young people. To learn more and donate, please visit thetrevorproject.org.
Yes. And please subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts. We're on YouTube. We're on Google Play, Spotify, everywhere you find podcasts. Rate and review us. It really helps us in the algorithm reach more people. And these conversations that we have on here are really important topics, really important conversations, and we want to get as much exposure as possible. And that really helps us out. Instagram and Twitter at the SOS Pod. Patreon, we're on Patreon if you just search SOS with Molly and Alyssa. And yes, where Alyssa's pointing, that's it. And $3 a month, $7 a month, or $11 a month based on your tier. You get different benefits. And I'm Molly Cottrell.
I'm Alyssa Rosano.
Here's to turning meltdowns, really big meltdowns,
into really little magic.
into tiny magic.
Tiny little morsels and nuggets and crumbs of magic.
Crumbs.
Yes. Oh, God.